Hey y'all, thanks for sticking around. So we got feature presentation tonight, Say-Chay's top 10 anime characters. Here's the format. I name the character. I describe their background and personality. I tell you why I like them. I tell you my favorite moment. And the whole time we're listening to their theme song. There are some exceptions. Sometimes it's not their theme song specifically, but it's a song I heavily associate with the character. So we're going to begin with number 10, James of Team Rocket. James entered the world into a rich, luxurious family where he could have anything he wanted, be it Pokemon or material items. But he was always up to no good, like future partner Jesse. He ran away from home and joined a bicycle gang, not bike gang, where he met Jesse, and then later they moved on to Team Rocket, where they met Meowth. The reason I like James so much is he doesn't catch his Pokemon. He's like, do you want to come with me? And they come with him. It's just so different. It's really cool that he does this. He cares for his Pokemon's feelings. He's always a nice guy. He gets a short end of the stick every time Team Rocket has a plan. But he's always the coolest gentleman around during it, even no matter how much of a short stick he gets. My favorite James moment comes from the episode Ditto's Amazing Mansion or something like that. Team Rocket kidnaps Duplica's Ditto. Duplica comes up with the idea to dress up as Team Rocket and impersonate them and make fun of them when they go to get Ditto back. Duplica messes up James's line while they're all saying the motto, to unite all peoples within our nation. She says, to ignite all peoples within our nation. James is furious because of this, and it says, it's unite, not ignite! And he's just so mad. I've never seen him lose his cool like that. It was hilarious. When James is around, you better prepare for trouble and make it double. Number 9. Kaitou Kid, also known as the Kaitou Kid, from Magic Kaitou and Case Closed. The main character of the Magic Kaitou series, Kaitou Kid, is the current Kaitou Kid. He's a second-year student at Ikoda High, second class, 2B, alongside childhood friend Ayako Nakamori, witch Akako Koizumi, and transfer student detective Sagaru Hakuba. Kaitou discovers his father was the original Kaitou Kid 8 years after his father died, and then he wants to pick up where his father left off. So he takes on the identity of the kid to find out who killed his father, and becoming a world-famous thief. Later on, he goes on to clash heads with Conan Edogawa in Case Closed, while at the same time continuing in his own series. My favorite of the kid's moments is the first time I ever saw the guy. I was over at my friend Gojito's house, and he was showing me this Case Closed movie. I don't remember which one it was. This little girl was just about to go to bed. She turns off the vampire movie she was watching, where the vampire is waiting outside the girl's window on the balcony, and she sees the vampire, and he says something that she thought was like super romantic to him. So the little girl goes to bed. She turns off her TV, and as she's going to go to bed, she notices a figure on the balcony. So she goes over and approaches, asks him if he's a vampire, and Kaitou responds by quoting the vampire in the movie. And then he jumps off the building. His cape turns into a hang glider as he glides away to get away from the cops that have been following him. It's just, I saw that and I'm like, this dude is like the coolest guy ever. When it comes to being the top thief in the world, Kaitou Kid sets the bar pretty high. Number 8. Lucky Stars Meito Anizawa. Mr. Anizawa owns an anime store, and the one customer who he can never get to buy anything is legendary girl A, Konata Izumi. His whole life is based around trying to sell her stuff, in the real world and in the video game they play in the Lucky Star OVA. Meito has an entire ship devoted to her. They use sniper rifles to keep an eye on her as she browses the halls. They use kung fu tactics to parkour their way over the store to deploy their newest stock right in front of her so she sees it. And at one point, when it looks like she's about to walk away without buying something, once again, he uses, like, his eye turns a different color and he mind controls her. I hear this from Code Geass, but I don't know. I never watched it. And he hypnotizes her and she starts walking towards him with an item, and he's just like freaking out thinking she's finally gonna buy something. And she doesn't have enough money, which causes one of his staff members to start crying blood. Nagato Anizawa is pretty freaking intense. He spontaneously combusts all over the place whenever he freaks out. He uses all sorts of anime power attacks. It's amazing. This guy is crazy. My favorite Nagato Anizawa moment has to be when he showed up in Miyakawa Family's Hunger. He's Hinata's boss, and he gives her some tickets to go to an amusement park, completely prepaid, and it's a reward for working so hard. And then, out of the corner of his eye, the legendary girl A and one of her friends! So he rushes over and starts trying to hawk them some stuff, while of course, Konata's totally not even aware of him, and Kagami's getting annoyed by him. Hinata just smiles and laughs, thinking that the boss is just like, so awesome. And he is. Number 7. Kaori Cowering Ida from Azumanga Daioh. Kaorin, a loyal and devoted fan of Miss Sakaki, starts off as a character that I completely adore. She's so funny. Just like, I always thought it was so funny how she gawked over Sakaki all the time and was so crazy about it. It was just really funny, though later I grew to be able to sympathize with her during my senior year when I too had a crush on a girl that I just knew was out of my league. My favorite Kaori moment comes from the Azumanga Daioh manga. It never made it to the show, so I'm going to read it to you. Here we go. So sleepy. This is bad. She's calling on everyone in the row. It'll be my turn soon. Gotta stay awake! Ding ding. Hey Kaorin, you're up next. Poke poke. Poke poke. Drip. Consider all that, and then that she is the pedophile teacher's favorite, and you realize that you just kind of have to sympathize with her. Number 6. Kagura from Azumanga Daioh. I normally don't like the jock character, but Kagura is different. I think that's because she changes the most over the series compared to the other characters. Kagura starts off as a very much the typical jock tomboy, always obsessed with sports and beating Sakaki and pretty much everyone else at sports. But my favorite moment really emphasizes that she has changed. In one of the later episodes, as they're setting up for their 3rd year sports festival, they have to set up a tent. Kagura starts goofing around with Tomo, and ends up going to body slam Tomo, but Tomo jumps out of the way and she hits Chio-chan by mistake, collapsing the entire tent. Kagura blames herself entirely for this and volunteers to set the entire tent back up by herself. Well, she's in tears as she volunteers to do this. Chio-chan refuses to let her do so and says that they should do it together because it's supposed to be a fun time. Kagura continues to cry so sweetly during this. I also think Kagura has like the coolest hairstyle of any character in the series. So all that together, and I'm just going to like Kagura. Number 5. Hikage Miyakawa from Lucky Star and Miyakawa Keino Kufuku. Hikage is the youngest of 2 sisters who are living alone. Their parents are unexplainedly absent. Hinata, her older sister, is supposed to be taking care of her, but can't stop irresponsibly spending money on manga and things they don't need. This leaves poor Hikage really hungry all the time. Hikage tends to act like the older sister more than the younger sister. She does have some childish traits at times, but generally, she just reprimands Hinata for her irresponsibility and her inability to take care of her. My favorite moment of Hikage's has to be, and I don't have a picture for it, at one point, she decides she's going to go to this new restaurant that's really expensive and they have a lot of great food. The thing is, they think that their food is so great that if you can tell them that you hate their food, and be honest about it, they will give it to you for free. So Hikage's plan is to go there, eat as much food as she wants, and then lie about how good it is. But when she gets there and she eats the food, she's asked if it's good, and she can't bring herself to lie. And so she has to pay so much money for it. She's such a good girl, it's so tear-jerking. And I always feel sorry for her, after being stuck with Hinata like that. I'd adopt her if I were able to. Never in anything else has a character made me so sad as Hikage does. I feel so sorry for you, Hikage. Heart really goes out to you, girl. Number 4. Kyon, from the Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya. When we first meet Kyon, he's a freshman in high school. And he's trying to live a normal life. He's tired of thinking of aliens, time travelers, espers. He's tired of trying to think of ways he could be one of the characters in such a series. He's just tired of it. He's trying to grow up here. And then, as they're doing their introductions, first day, the girl behind him says, Haruhi Suzumiya, from East Junior High. First off, I am not interested in ordinary humans, but if any of you are aliens, time travelers, or espers, please come see me. His life begins to change at that moment. He then talks to her for a few days and admits it's probably a mistake. Haruhi drafts him into the SOS Brigade, a club she is forming, where he meets Yuki Nagato in purple hair, Itsuki Koizumi, the other guy, and Mikuru Asahina in the chestnut-colored hair. That's what they say in the books anyway. Each of the new members tells him that they are not normal humans. Yuki claims to be an alien, Koizumi an esper, and Mikuru a time traveler. And they all claim that Haruhi is different and the reason for them being here. Haruhi, they claim, has the ability to alter the world at will. She doesn't know it, and she can destroy the world at will as well. And it becomes Kyon's job to save the world from her crazy. Throughout the course of the series, Kyon accomplishes this goal numerous ways. He kisses her in a semi-alternate dimension, ties a baseball game, he does his homework over summer vacation, helps her realize that a murder case is actually just an elaborate show put on by Koizumi. He travels back in time to an alternate world and does the job that he couldn't do before saving the world by altering Yuki Nagato. He also saves the world by putting some nails under a can and getting an angry businessman to kick it, throwing a turtle into a pond, and then jumping out a window to save Haruhi as she falls to her death while she's unconscious. Haruhi's completely unaware that any of these ever happen, and, well, she's aware that he kissed her in an alternate dimension, but only conditionally, because she knows it happened, but she thinks it happened in a dream, a really weird dream. In my favorite scene, which is from the disappearance of Haruhi Suzumiya, the movie version of the scene, the book version's not as good, Kyon is debating whether or not he should change the world. And so, as he thinks about doing this, they do something that really emphasizes Crispin Freeman's awesome voice acting. Which, by the way, let me say, is just as good as Morgan Freeman in anything Morgan Freeman does, and Peter Cullen's Optimus Prime. In the scene, Kyon is shown sitting at his desk when his reflection in the window, gets out and starts walking all over him while interrogating him as to whether or not he's going to waste his opportunity to get the world back to the way he wants it. Yeah, it seems that whenever Kyon's on the job, the world is safe. Way to go, hero! Number 3. Konata Izumi and Kagami Hiragi share this honor, because I really just can't pick a favorite, and I think they work better as a team anyway. Kona-chan is probably the least surprising of the two. I'm an otaku. She is like the goddess of otaku. Konata is raised by her father, who is just as much an otaku as she is, and also has a Lolita complex, as well as liking girls his age. That's how he describes his situation. Konata is shorter than most people her age. Her hair's pretty iconic. Konata values all things otaku, and goes through having to deal with this, because not everyone does. She's an avid fan of cosplay, such as when she wore this Yuki Nagato witch costume from the Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya in the last episode. But probably her best cosplay is when she was Haruhi Suzumiya. But her friend went and visited her at her work, which is a cosplay cafe. And she was Haruhi. And I'll explain the scene more when we get to Kagami, because Kagami also has a really good part in the scene too. Kagami is awesome for the same reason Kyon is awesome. Fulfills the role of the straight man to the crazy person voiced by Wendy Lee. The difference is, Kagami is not so serious all the time. Well, she's serious, but she tends to tease around. Kyon doesn't do that as much. Kagami has two sides to her personality. She's, at one point, she can be really hostile and angry and degrading. Other times, she can be really nice and cheery. My favorite Kagami moment, also being my favorite Konoha moment, is when they go visit her at her work and Konoha's doing her Haruhi cosplay. Kagami's annoyed by it at first. But when Konoha gets up and starts dancing Hare Hare Yukai, she can't help but smile at her friend having so much fun. It's really sweet. I love the more complex characters, like Kagami, like Kagura, and it's just so sweet. Just goes to show that teamwork really helps when you're trying to get something done. Number 2. Any avid viewer of my channel would have recognized that song and known Yuki Nagato is number 2. When we're first introduced to Yuki Nagato, she's a very silent bookworm who just sits in the corner of the club room. However, as time progresses, she admits to Kyon that, yeah, she's an alien. She is a humanoid data interface created by the Data Integrated Thought Entity for the purpose of contact with organic life forms. She's created specifically because specific life form, Haruhi Suzumiya, created a massive data flare that just is not supposed to be possible for organic life forms, according to the Thought Entity's previous observations. Though, it does admit that it could have been mistaken, so it sends people to investigate. Those people being, like, Yuki Nagato. Yuki possesses amazing reflexes and powers. When hostile interface Ryoko Asakura attempted to kill Kyon to provoke Haruhi into some sort of action, Yuki broke into the alternate dimension Ryoko had created, and proceeded to fight with her in an epic and brutal fight, dedicated solely to protecting Kyon's life. Or Kyon-ko, if you're from the gender-bent version. In the process, Yuki sustains massive damage, and is still perfectly fine. After all that impalement, she's literally like, I am fine. Kyon's like, you don't look fine. From that moment on, Yuki always has Kyon's back, and Kyon always has hers. She can travel through other dimensions. She can hijack Haruhi's powers and change the world. She can influence odds so something's more likely or less likely to happen. She can download information on a split-second notice like she did when she needed to learn how to play guitar. She did a fortune-telling thing for her class's, school festival. And she didn't tell fortunes, she read the guy's future and explained how his relationship with his girlfriend was going to end. The best Yuki moment has not made it to the anime yet, because I haven't gotten to the indignation yet. Through the course of the series, I'm not going to explain how they come into this in the book, but Kyon asks Yuki if souls exist, if humans continue to live after their bodies are destroyed. Yuki hesitates for a while. Kyon's commenting about how Yuki seems like she's looking like she's trying not to laugh at her own joke. And then, here we go, quoting, then finally, Nagato's answer came. It was short and sweet. That is classified. She's quoting Mikuru Asahina. She stole Mikuru's line, and it's even funnier if you picture her doing Mikuru's pose, where she's like, that's classified. And you know what? After she and Kyon teamed up again, and this time stole the show from the girls in Lucky Star in the previously mentioned episode 16 with Konota's Haruhi cosplay, yeah, it's just not fair. Yuki's just too amazing. Number 1! I am Osaka Kasuga from Azumanga Daioh. Osaka is the last of the characters introduced in episode 1 of the anime. Osaka hails from Osaka, as Yukari Tanisaki, their homeroom teacher, puts it. However, she was from Kobe before that, and she was born in Wakayama. But, because no one bothers to remember her name, and because she's the only one from another town, everyone just calls her Osaka. And the name sticks, no matter how much she doesn't like it, to the point where even she forgets her real name. Osaka is an airhead. She falls asleep in class all the time. She is just so amazingly funny. Everything she does is so quirky and hilarious, it'll bring laughs for generations, this show. Honestly, I like Osaka so much, and here's why. I'm hanging out with Gojido, my good buddy, and he's reading the Azumanga Daioh Omnibus. Again, just like I said in Nagato Nights, I am that big of a geek. And so he's reading, and he turns to me, he flips it over, shows me the back cover, and points to Osaka and says, "You see her? She's just like you." At first I don't buy it, but then I start watching the show and I come to a realization. He was not kidding. There are only two differences between me and Osaka. She's a little bit more extreme than I am when it comes to laziness and spaciness and whatnot. And I have more energy than her. Those are the only two differences. We are, other than that, exactly alike. Well, and the fact that she's a Japanese schoolgirl, but still. We're just so similar, it's like, wow. And that's what got me into Azumanga Daioh, and then anime and manga in general. If it weren't for Osaka, I wouldn't be doing this video. That's how amazing this is. I wouldn't be doing Nagato Nights or Miyuki Monday. Think about it. It's that important. The problem is, with such a great character, you cannot pick a good, like, the best moment. The entirety of episode 2 is devoted to her and her hiccup problem. In a later episode, when they go to Okinawa for a school trip, she gets something called Sata Andagi, it's like an Osakan donut, and she just will not stop repeating, Sata Andagi! Sata Andagi! To the point where it gets Tomo doing it, and they won't stop yelling it now. She recounts a terrifying experience where she was alone in her room one night and she smells a fart that wasn't hers. The hilarity continues in Azumanga Daioh supplementary lessons, which tells some stories that didn't happen in the first series. I'm going to read to you now this scene, where she outs Cowering as a lesbian. Sakaki is so cool. Cowering, are you gay? The correct term is lesbian. Not that I'm lesbian. It's just, you know, a teenage thing. That's all. Anyway, that's not what I meant when I said she was cool. And just to prove it, I wouldn't mind if she was a guy. Huh? She can't tell an elevator from an escalator. She throws sea slugs at people. Osaka's just so hilarious. Though really it's hard to beat Osaka's knife moment. In the third year, they're at Chio-chan's summer home, and Osaka wakes up. Only one person still asleep, and that's Miss Yukari, the homeroom teacher who beats Osaka for sleeping. And by beat, I mean hits her over the head with like a paper roll or something. Anyway, and Osaka wakes up. She's still asleep, it looks like. And she volunteers to go wake up Yukari, saying she wants to wake someone up with a frying pan, so she's going to go do it. She walks in the kitchen, grabs what she thinks is a frying pan, passes Yomi in the hall. Yomi spins her out, realizing, oh my gosh, Osaka has a knife. Osaka opens the door. Yukari wakes up. Oh, it's you, Osaka. She sees a glint, huh? Realizes it's a knife. Panic attack. Screams. Then Osaka makes it worse by saying, you woke up yourself. Then I have failed. Then walks out. The anime makes it more hilarious when, as she walks out, you hear Chio-chan yelling, Miss Osaka, what in the world are you carrying that around for? Huh? I thought I was holding the frying pan a minute ago. Do you know where the frying pan went, Chio-chan? Miss Osaka, stop swinging this way, don't ah! Boing! Then Yukari says, knife flying. And I'm going to link it down in the description. Gojido and I made a video using his Gundam models where we made a stop motion acting that scene out. To be clear, I didn't have that great a role, I just played the audio so he knew what the characters needed to be doing as they were doing it. But yeah, so you can go watch that, it's pretty hilarious, and I'll also have the original link down there as well. Just love Osaka. My Xbox gamer tag was Osaka Rules for a time, and every time I try to play Assassin's Creed Revelations, when I play it, it still says that the save game file is named Osaka Rules. Oh, so much Osaka. Osaka Rules, best character ever. Thanks for sticking around, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. So, what do you guys think? Who are your favorite anime characters? I probably won't know most of them. Really, the only anime I watch are Pokemon. Was it Pokemon? I've watched a bit of Case Closed. Haven't seen too much of it. Lucky Star, Haruhi, and Azumanga Daioh. Which anime is my favorite? I don't know. I'm probably not going to do that list, because it changes so often. Yeah, so in the comment section, let me know what you guys think. Who's your favorite characters? Yeah. So, hope to see you guys again next week. Bye,